The field. Every neighborhood has one. Grass, concrete, or dirt. The stage is the same. The rules, unwavering. And the goals, beautiful.
It goes in! It's unbelievable!
Now, in its 107th year, America's oldest soccer tournament is back.
The hometown hero!
One cup, open to all. The 2022 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup.
An exhilarating 2 days of U.S. Open Cup action wraps up out in the Pacific Northwest as we welcome you into Salem, Oregon, as the Portland Timbers U23 squad takes on Contra Costa out of the NPSL in what will be an exhilarating, exacerbating Wednesday night here between a pair of amateur squads. It's the USL League Two against the NPSL. And I'm Daniel Gilman, so happy to be with you as the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, the longest-running annual team sports event. And if you've been following all the action the last 2 days, you know how this all works. The winner here today will take on Sacramento Republic FC on April 7th. Last time that Portland played in this tournament back in 2019. And Contra Costa, one of the 10 debut programs in this tournament. And talking to Contra Costa's head coach, Bijan Esmaili, it's a lot of youngsters for this FC team against a veteran squad in Portland. Interesting to see how the captain of this Contra Costa squad out of San Francisco will match up against the size, but are led by the senior captain in Addison Escobar, one of the many 20-some-year-olds on the field, but only a few for Contra Costa as the leading goal scorer with 3 goals coming into this match will match up against the number 9 for the Portland Timbers here in Salem in front of a capacity crowd, and it's Eddie Sanchez who will lead the way, the former freshman of the year in the WCC, standout for the University of Portland. He's one of the many veterans on this Timbers squad as we take a look at the starting lineups. It isn't the clearest of days, but for Oregon weather, it's not too bad. As we look at the 2 goalkeepers to lead the way for Contra Costa, Robert Llamas, grabbed off the street just a few days ago. That adds to the allure of this tournament here today. As long as Contra Costa can get good goalkeeping work, we'll see what they can get out of it. For Portland, it's the former IUPUI standout in Quinn McCallion and the 2 defensemen to keep an eye on. Yes, that is Footy Danzo, the 38-year-old veteran standout from Gambia, up against what is a phenomenal backline for Contra Costa. You see them, the FC team out of Concord, California, just in the East Bay of San Francisco. And look at the fans. They have been waiting in line for the last hour to get in here for the first Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup match in Salem as the CCST taking on the PT23. Portland Timbers in the white, Contra Costa in the dark grays, as we are off and running on this Wednesday night. Officials today, Dion Cox with Eric Kruger, CJ Cole, and Ian Miller, as Contra Costa comes out in a 4-3-3 up against the 3-5-2 for the Portland Timbers, and streaking through already. We're going to see Portland have a little bit more of a physical approach because of those veterans. They have 9 players from Corbin University, a local NAIA school here in Salem, as Alexis Luna Ramirez, one of those freshmen for Corbin U, couldn't quite gather that ball. 55-degree Wednesday evening here in Salem, the capital city of Oregon, as playing with a darker ball today. So it'll be interesting to see the adjustments that both teams have to make as the Timbers are playing in their first match since July of 2021 when they lost in the national semifinal to Des Moines Menace. As we see the Menace up front and Eddie Sanchez nearly pile his way through the entire back row. And already Sanchez coming up a little limp, as you can see him on the far side of the screen, trying to get back into the onside position as Reggie Reyes on the near side met in the middle with Nate Sherwood, Jose Peralta, and Andy Latorte. Sanchez and Peterson will have to carry the load in the front row, and already Eddie Sanchez is limping, the number 9 in white for the Timbers. So that's an injury that we'll keep an eye on here on a chilly Wednesday night. It was raining earlier, so a little bit of wet turf out there for these 2 squads. Through ball intended for the striker for Contra Costa, Addison Escobar, but the big 6'3" in Mamadou Footy Danzo. And that's a name that you veteran soccer fans may remember, as he spent a good amount of time on the Portland Timbers MLS team back in the early 2010s. And Danzo, a local youth coach here alongside Matt Brahead, a coach for the United PDX Youth Academy here in Salem. And it's funny to see a U23 team sport a 38-year-old legend in the area. So we'll see Danzo man the middle with a couple 5'10" defensemen in Carlos Llamosa Jr. and Noah Dreves. Having to defend against the 3-forward look that Bijan Ismaili's squad is going to bring out. And this is a Contra Costa team just joining the NPSL this year, about 11 months ago, and they had their first NPSL game just 2 days ago in a 3-2 loss against Napa Valley, as a good tackle in the midfield by Alexis Luna creates an opportunity as Luna gets dispossessed quickly right in front of us here by a good sliding Alonso Del Mundo. Del Mundo, one of 4 Cal Berkeley players on this team, as you see him trying to readjust his shin guard. And because Cal Berkeley is in a sanctioned spring break, allowed to play, usually NCAA players have to wait until the summer season to play in this U.S. Open Cup. But with Cal Berkeley on a sanctioned summer break, a sanctioned spring break, Contra Costa has 4 Bears, a team that practices in Berkeley, California, listed out of Contra Costa. Early on, we're seeing defense really shine as neither team has had any looks, and a good takeaway in the far corner by Noah Dreves creates a goal kick. As we introduce you to the Englishman in net in the purple, it's Quinn McCallion. Spent the last 2 summers training with the USL squad out in Indianapolis, Indy 11. He just made the transfer move over to Corbin. And that's a name you're going to hear a lot. Corbin University, 9 players on this Timbers team, 7 starters, a part of Corbin U, where assistant coach Timothy Kagi coaches, a team that is perennially ranked in the top 20 in the NAIA. Getting a pretty solid backdrop, aren't we? Can't wait for sunset here on the West Coast. Always a delight getting the sun fading away behind this John Chambers Fields backdrop as a turnover in the midfield continues to add to the midfield game we're seeing. Had a referee today, Dion Cox, points by the way of the Timbers, and so far this Contra Costa team has done a good job keeping this capacity crowd at bay. They were riled up before the kickoff, but I think the mild injury to the star player Eddie Sanchez has calmed them a bit. Just 5 minutes in this 90-minute contest. We will play a pair of 15-minute extra time periods if we're tied after 90, and then head to PKs. And PKs is exactly what Bijan Ismaili doesn't want to hear. He said he's grown about 50 extra gray hairs due to their Open Division local amateur championship a few months ago. They won it in 10 rounds of PKs in order to make the club's first ever U.S. Open Cup. Just 3 coming from the back, including Carlos Llamosa Jr., son of the storied MLS and U.S. star, who is now the assistant coach at the Portland Timbers MLS squad. For those unfamiliar with the setup of this tournament, there are 103 clubs, 71 of them pro clubs, and right now all of the amateur, semi-pro, and the USL League 2 teams dueling it off in the first round. Second round comes April 5th to the 7th, where we'll have a couple USL championship teams joining us, 23 of them to be exact, including 10 NISA teams, as a throw-in is created in the far corner for the Timbers. Then the MLS teams start to pile in. 17 of them come in the third round, including the Portland Timbers. 8 of them join in the round of 32 in mid-May. And at that point, any of the Cinderellas still alive can add those NCAA teams that are done with their spring semesters. Here's big Footy Danzo using his 6'3" frame, battling it out with Addison Escobar, the captain in gray. We haven't seen either team risk it too much in order to open up their back line. We know how aggressive the Portland Timbers U23 team is in trying to create turnovers, nearly getting one there in the box as well, as George Binda mishandled it, the center back for Contra Costa. Contra Costa squad that had an incredible run in their open amateur qualifiers. It's truly a wild story for this new MPSL team who now has a chance in the box. Escobar off of a deflection, and the first save made by McCallion, helped out by a sliding Danso to get in front of Addison Escobar. And we highlighted him in the open. Escobar had 3 goals in the 3 qualifier games, and now we'll see the other headlining forward. Great tackle by Binda. Back in October, this journey started for Contra Costa as we get one more look at that ball into Escobar. And it's going to be hard to get around that 6'3" frame of Danzo. He's got so much experience. Wears the captain's sleeve for this Timbers team, even though it's not literally. He said he was the captain. Nobody has a armband here tonight. But right now, very impressed with the Contra Costa defense. They've not allowed a Portland shot yet. And a Timbers team built with a lot more experience, a lot more age, and a good chip up forward. Moving forward, Alexa Luna. Oh, he is just distraught at the missed opportunity with the left. And the freshman, local Capital Club standout here. This is the Capital Football Club facility. A $4 million renovation here to John Chambers Field has us sitting pretty above the press box. And Alexis Luna hopefully will find an opportunity to make up for that. If not, he'll be thinking about it all week long as playing from the back. Roberto Llamas looks to move it forward. A juxtaposition to remember here. A Portland Timbers team that qualified for this cup because they won their USL League Two division. But that came so long ago that Coach Matt Broadhead told me there is not one player on this team that was a part of that 2021 conference championship run. West Coast Conference champs with a PK win over Park City FC all the way back in July. And this Timbers team has only had 1 practice together. Just met each other a few weeks ago, got everything ready, and now here they are hosting in the event of the night here in Salem. You know, walking around the town center, down on State Street, everyone was buzzing and vibing about this 7 o'clock start. And trust me, with the lines that we saw at about 6:30, it's good to see everyone make it inside the field before kickoff as rain starts to drizzle on this turf field in the westernmost capital in the country, Salem, Oregon. As we're through 10 minutes, both teams looking for their first shot on goal. A pair of forwards have had a chance today while Alexis Luna missed wide. Escobar was saved by a sliding McCallion. Good through ball. Pushes it forward here. Alonzo Del Mundo, one of the Cal Berkeley Bear standouts. All region at Cal back in 2021 for Del Mundo. And despite filled with 19 and 20-year-olds, Contra Costa has certainly dominated possession in the midfield thus far.
They've got a 3-5-2. Wait, look, Kubo. We got 3v3 here. Play on feet and go. Stay high, Addy. Stay high.
Now we're starting to get that Oregon welcome on this Wednesday for this East Bay team as the drizzle begins. But I'm sure a couple San Francisco kids are used to a little March cold rain as Footy Danzo works it from behind. But another turnover in the midfield. Contra Costa continues to show a little bit extra aggression in that middle third. About 15-mile-an-hour winds. Give the go attempt intended for Eddie Sanchez. And Sanchez, who pulled up a little limp in the first couple minutes of this one, seems to have battled through it. And when you talk to some of these players, everyone I spoke to before this game mentioned that this is going to be the biggest game they play in this year. Everyone knows that a win here today and then maybe an upset over Sacramento Republic FC in April, and you have a chance to face an MLS squad in a few weeks. As Alexis Luna again finds a brick wall in the back row by the name of George Binda, along with Kaya Yilmaz back there as well. As quickly the counterattack forms from Del Mundo, and counter intended again. We're seeing a lot of possession changing hands in the midfield. Portland, one of 10 USL League Two teams in this US Open Cup. Saw a couple of them upset already in this first round. Home teams were only 3-3 yesterday in the first day of action. And then we had 10 more games today as the match goes on. I'll break down all the final scores for you as Del Mundo again finding a little bit of open grass. Defended by Dreves. And we'll have a goal kick worked hard there by the Spokane, Washington native Noah Dreves, who is one of the three backliners. Portland going a little bit more aggressive with the 3-5-2 look. Led by a former USL standout in Matt Broadhead. Played with Utah back in the early 2000s. A little bit of time on the MLS reserve squads of Columbus and FC Dallas. And now Broadhead leads that United PDX youth club I mentioned. Is a mishap by Binda, and the swing of the leg by Sanchez creates a foul. George Binda gets bailed out by a very risky decision to tackle in his own box. And instead of tackling the attacker, he took down the goalkeeper as Sanchez is beside himself on that call. I think he has something to gripe about. So we've hit the 15th minute of action. Still scoreless here between Portland Timbers U23 and Contra Costa. Unbelievable story. They beat the powerhouse in the qualifiers back in November in El Farolito. It was a 3-2 come-from-behind win with a 92nd minute goal by Addison Escobar to send Contra Costa to the championship, where they beat San Francisco Metro in penalty kicks. 10 rounds of penalty kicks. And all that was a lead up into this with an entirely new squad. From December to March, all 11 of these starters for Contra Costa, brand new. Is that one just wide of us up here in the press box? You know, I almost had my chance to shine there, but rules for this entire tournament are 5 subs each, as we get one more look at that foul on what looked to be a swinging kick attempt by Sanchez. And we'll see if head referee Dion Cox decides to play a little bit tighter of a whistle early on or throughout. 5 subs each in 3 windows with 1 extra in extra time on this 18-man squad, so 7 subs total per team. And a good run here by Escobar. He's using his right arm. We'll draw the foul, our first chance at a free kick. It wasn't just Addison Escobar, though, in the qualifiers. Number 8, Roberto Gonzalez, had a goal in each of the 3 matches. And we'll see if Gonzalez takes a look from about 39 feet out here. Or 39 yards out here, I should say.
Hey fans, if you haven't already, be sure to check out the food carts and beer garden in the northwest corner of the field.
Lining up, it's Del Mundo and Gonzalez. And I talked about the height. Look at that wall formed by the Timbers. You've got Danzo and the rest of them. And so Danzo will back away, and it'll be Del Mundo's swinging attempt that sails high. Third shot of the game by Contra Costa. None of them too threatening yet. One nice save by McCallion on a deflection. And just one shot by the Timbers that sailed wide by Luna. So if you're Portland, you're trying to get that headman Eddie Sanchez involved a little bit more. The other forward, Thomas Peterson, has been quite a ghost through the first 15 and a half. Good tackle in the midfield by Jose Peralta, another Corbin University product from Walla Walla, Washington. It feels like after the first 15, the Portland Timbers have been able to compose themselves a little bit better as a good ball from the front. Oh, a handball is begged for and not called there. Wow, looked to be a fantastic attempt. Luna was trying to get a little revenge and redemption as his feed inside on the pass by Sanchez was deflected. No call, though, as the counterattack forms from Contra Costa. Kaya Yilmaz on the right side, but instead the strike a little high and wide there. Roberto Gonzalez gave it a chance. So we get one more look at that questionable decision. Let's see if we have a potential handball. I'm not sure I saw too much there, especially just 18 minutes in. No VAR technology used here in the early stages of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, of course. As a foul in the midfield gives it back to Contra Costa. Final few games out on the West Coast. We had 16 games here in these 2 days. A couple weeks off before the April 5th, 6th, and 7th second round all action on ESPN Plus moving forward as a matchup here between Contra Costa and Portland Timbers stays 0-0. Now you may ask, why are we playing in Salem? Well, the Timbers played in Portland for the first 7 years of their program's existence. And over the last 5 or 6, they've been out here in Salem, about 55 minutes south of the biggest city in the state of Portland. Good ball movement, plays it forward as Escobar tries to reverse the field. Good flick, and an attempt from the left wing. Second key save by McCallion. Now scoreless into the 20th, and I'll tell you what, Contra Costa certainly dominates the shoe game thus far, as they've got a couple neon greens. See the neon pink on the far left side by the attacker Nate Carrasco, who put that one on target. As the wind picks up, Carrasco gets taken down and is furious at the no call. It's going to go back to the Portland Timbers U23 squad, a team that plays in USL League 2, which is the largest pre-professional soccer league here in North America. In fact, they're joining a couple more teams in the next season as New Mexico United U23 and CISA Colorado International Soccer Academy joining what is already over 100 clubs that make up this USL League 2. Feeds into the USL and then the USL Championship, right up into the MLS. Another good feed and an attentive attack snuffed out by Danzo. Del Mundo. Yilmaz. A little bit extra adrenaline, and can you blame them? A Contra Costa team that did just play their NPSL opener on Saturday. They lost 3-2 at Napa Valley. We'll get one more look at a good pass out wide to Yilmaz. Truly had the Timbers on their back. Heels. The right back didn't necessarily find that one too intriguing. Early on, about 65-35 possession in favor of Contra Costa. average age difference in this matchup is remarkable. I mean, of course, Footy Danzo is going to be an outlier, so you throw him out of the equation at 38, and the average age of Contra Costa is still about 20, while the Portland Timbers sit about 24, 25 in average age. Into the 23rd minute, scoreless with a couple shots on goal from the team from San Francisco. Portland Timbers U23 playing at home in front of their home crowd. Crowd's still waiting for a reason to cheer. Escobar just tails it wide. That was clearly the agenda of the former All-American player turned coach in Bijan Ismaili, and he told me all he wants to do is get those shots up, force the goalkeeper, and in this case Quinn McCallion, to make a couple plays, to get the nerves out early from his attackers. He knows that they're going to miss the first few shots. But it's been the second half in comebacks for this Contra Costa team. Owned by Gus Laredo, who is also the assistant coach. Part of a 3 affiliate platform with Sporting Club São João de Ver out of the Portuguese League 3 and Thisted FC out of Denmark League 2. So an opportunity for these young kids for Contra Costa to truly experiment a little bit of worldliness moving forward, and that's the plan, to really grow this program in the East Bay of San Francisco as 50-50 ball goes by way of Portland, and a little bit of frustration shown there by Alonso Del Mundo, throwing it in quickly. Oh, and a yellow card given to somebody in the back line for Contra Costa, and he's going to have to be careful there. He's going to look at who got that yellow card early. Most likely more verbal than anything, as there wasn't quite a physical altercation on that play. Yellow card. They shoot to number 24, which is always fun because we don't have a number 24, so adds to the fun of the first round. So we'll have to wait and see who got that yellow card in the 24th minute. Everyone in this game, all 36 players total between the two teams, playing in their first ever game as a member of this team in U.S. Open Cup action. For Contra Costa, a handful of them played in the MPSL opener last week. And of course, a couple of the key players got to play last year in that qualifier. And they're showing a lot more chemistry, aren't they? Portland's still trying to work out a little bit of the chemistry issues. Binda turns it over. Now we might see a whistle blown, a little bit of a makeup call there. As let's see if we can figure out who number 24 is for you. The one that drew the foul, he's got the yellow card.
Come closer, Lonzo.
Swinging pass, headed by Binda and picked up nicely by McCallion, who has shown a lot of composure in the net. Exactly what you would expect from a fifth year at the college ranks. Spent some time with IUPUI in Indiana. Now a member of that Corbin University NAIA team here in Salem. Del Mundo tried to split that double team, but a good steal by Reggie Reyes, and he gets taken down very rough. It's Del Mundo again, and you see Reyes still writhing. Second yellow card has been issued to this Contra Costa crew as Del Mundo gets one here in the 27th.
Ref, does that constitute a yellow?
And Bijan Ismaili wants to know if that truly constitutes the yellow. 2 yellows in 5 minutes now for Contra Costa, and in this format, the yellows and reds do carry over into the next rounds. So certainly something to keep track of, especially if this Contra Costa team can pull off some sort of upset. The 50-50 ball won by Luna. Smart play on the far side by Peterson, who is offside. But Sherwood running it down gets beaten, and it's Contra Costa's ball. '29th minute, Portland still looking for their first shot on goal. They only have 1 shot total as the possession and aggression has been dominated by the visitors. An NPSL team founded 7 years ago. They're in the Golden Gate Conference out in San Francisco. It's a strong attack by Luna. He gets held, no call, as Binda finally able to gather and clear. Ooh, very rough tackle on the near side. And that's the attacker in Eddie Sanchez, who came in viciously, and he'll get a yellow card. Well, here in the 20s, we're going to see the cards come out. The 3rd yellow issued, 2 to Contra Costa, 1 now to Portland. Let's get another look, and that is truly an inexcusable attack there. Nothing but body-on-body contact, no ball garnered, and luckily Kaya Yilmaz comes up all right. There's Adrian Guzma feeding it to Roberto Gonzalez. Now a through ball. Smart move off the line, and something that we've been seeing a lot in the first round of this U.S. Open Cup has been the goalkeeping play and the smarts or lack of truly costing a couple of the teams. "32 amateur sides in this U.S. Open Cup, 2 of them here in this matchup. As Contra Costa in their first ever cup. Portland's won a couple games in cup play. They made the second round back in 2018 with a win over an NPSL side in Kitsap. I also saw them reach the second round in 2013 and 2014 as the whistle in the corner of the box goes back to Portland, and we're seeing again, I think, happy fouls on the side of Contra Costa. They love the aggressiveness. They want to try to force the limits from a physical side of things and truly dominate a team that is, frankly, older and more experienced, but so far showing a little bit lethargicness. And maybe it's that lack of chemistry we mentioned, as a foul in the midfield goes against Andy Latorre. It's worked to the far side, and Adrian Gomez. John Julian Faux Newface, also known as JJ, stands out at Cal. He's up there. Haven't said his name often. Number 6 for Contra Costa has been quite nullified. And here's a attempt easily batted away by a strong Carlos Llamosa Jr. Mimosa, two-time All-American at Corbin University, another one of those veterans born in the early 90s for this Portland team. And as I mentioned, it's only U23 in name. Everything gets thrown out the window here in this U.S. Open Cup format. Oh, numbers moving forward for Portland there, and a very integral tackle in the midfield forces a counterattack. And Escobar might corner force, and it is forced into our first corner kick. It's the 33rd minute, and we'll finally see a play from the corner. It's funny because Portland's not going to have their season start until May. The USL League Two side, their home opener will come at the end of May right here. But for Contra Costa, they've got a match on Sunday against FC Davis as their first season in the NPSL. Looking for their first win. They're 0-1 as the back bar attempt tails just wide.
Adrian, great ball.
Now, there are a couple layers for the Portland Timbers. They've got the MLS team. They also have the MLS Next Pro team that plays in a few weeks in Hillsborough. They just hired a new coach in Shannon Murray. And then the next layer here in USL League Two. Feed to Yilmaz. He has Del Mundo on the right wing if he wants him. Del Mundo, the lefty. Oh, and a poor look there by Escobar. He'll dispossess quickly on the far side as the look by Noah Dreves went unmentioned. Sixteen teams in this Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup out of the state of California, the most of any state by 8. And this Contra Costa team is one of those 16 who have all but one, 17 of the 18 homegrown in their talent, as Portland also features 11 of their 18 local flavor here in one of the food capitals of the country. Through ball in by Reyes, and it's picked off for first time. Really talking about Roberto Llamas, who has been quietly freezing back there in the Contra Costa net. Gonzo tries to take it away there. And the handball gets wiped away by the head official. Give and go. Good chance. And it tails well wide to the left by Gonzalez. Both teams now frustrated for, I think, is a pretty good reason. I think there was a handball called by Dion Cox, and then he put his hand down, changing his decision just to see the possession change hands. Almost like he played an advantage as we get one more look at what was a perfect feed and just so hard to get around Footy Danzo out there. A one-man wrecking crew in the back row. The question is, how long can Danzo go? At 38 years old, 38 years young, you wanted me to say. Now a youth coach here in Salem, as possession will hand it right back to Contra Costa FC.
Show again.
Just under 10 minutes to go in this first half, and Contra Costa has had all of the opportunities, yet still scoreless. These first round matchups and the second round, really, up until you get to that fourth and fifth rounds, these are opportunities for a lot of kids trying to get noticed, get experience, and maybe, just maybe, become that New Mexico United team that made that run back in 2019. And they beat 2 MLS squads as a member of the USL. They beat Colorado. in PKs and then beat Dallas in the round of 16 before losing to the eventual runners-up in Minnesota. And that's the best part of these, right? The FA Cup, US Open Cup. Any team could possibly play the biggest teams in the nation.
Coming.
Perfect through ball played by Carrasco, but the run-up handled easily by McCallion, who has easily been the standout in this match thus far. No doubt about that. We've seen a lot of good looks from Addison Escobar, great passes as well by the captain in gray, but it's been the goalkeeper in purple who's made the most noise in this oldest annual team sports tournament in the nation. How amazing is that in its 107th year? Taking those 2 years off. We had the draw, everything was ready in 2020, and of course, we know what happened for the next 2 years. And picking right back off where they left off when Atlanta United raised the trophy in the Mercedes-Benz Dome back in 2019. Who knows if it's still called the Mercedes-Benz? I don't even know. Here's a striking attempt with the left, and it tails just right. There's the best look we've seen from Portland thus far. And a beautiful look coming in. Sherwood and Peterson almost connected on beautifulness in the 38th. And now as we enter the 39th, that might wake up Yamas as another look comes in. A perfect move. And Sherwood just couldn't quite curl it around the post.
Right there!
And quickly, while we're looking at the replay, Contra Costa was trying to sneak one by as Nate Carrasco dispossessed by Andy Latorre. Numbers moving forward in white. To the right wing, into the box. A good takeaway will lead to a Timbers corner kick as Andrew Alvarado with a tackle in the box. Now we'll see big footy Danzo's size as you see the 6'3" behemoth out of Gambia, West Africa, played a little bit for the Gambia national team. Had a couple FA Cup appearances with the Portland Timbers. Actually had 2 FA Cup goals back in 2013 for Portland. And now he's the one to mark as Reyes jogs out to the corner. Reyes, a transfer from Concordia, had to leave the program when the D2 club decided to drop their men's soccer team, and he was picked up by Corbin University, trying to make his mark. The first corner for the home support. We'll see a second quarter as Binda makes it quick work. Winner to take on Sacramento Republic FC on April 7th. This one's going to fall. Danzo, he falls. Oh, a prime opportunity for the veteran center back. And we'll see if numbers stay forward for the Timbers. Just a little bit of that wet turf up there. Big 6'3" footy staying up front. He wants a through ball. Instead, the intended target in Sanchez also takes a tumble. And Contra Costa fans can take a deep breath. We got one more look at that centering corner, falling gracefully and falling ungracefully there is Danzo. He'll have to jog back to his back line. We'll see about 4.5, maybe 5 more minutes of action here in this first half. Quinn McCallion in net for the Portland Timbers has been tremendous with 2 big saves thus far. Cheeky attempt, pushes it forward to Escobar, into the box, to a crossing Carrasco, and it's just overcooked. Might that have been the best chance for Contra Costa here in the first half? Oh, what a beautiful back heel to the surging captain. And then he gets by the backliner in Dreves to draw Danzo. And Reggie Reyes a little late on the tail behind Carrasco, but the pass was just in front of the surging forward. Carrasco scored over 100 goals for his academy in Sacramento as a kid. Scored a pair in the last 2 years for Cal Berkeley in the Pac-12 conference. Oh, beautiful backline stop by Binda. Tell you what, Contra Costa's getting a little too cute here with these no-look passes, and that one intercepted easily as Portland gives it right back. And a pass too strong for Reyes. Portland, who drew the host assignment here in this matchup, looking to play a little bit of catch-up defense as the left-handed strike tails high and wide, and another goal kick comes. As the wind picks up, the temperature drops down into the low 50s as the sun starts to fade. Beautiful backdrop here at John Chambers Field. Well, they're called the Timbers for a reason, aren't they? Here with this wooded facade.
Addy, stay high. Addy, you gotta be, no, high, stay high. Create that space. Win that.
Only 16 will move on. 14 have already punched their ticket into the second round, where 46 professional teams between USL Championship, USL League One, NASA, and MLS Next Pro will join them in the second round. And it's a USL Championship team awaiting the winner of this, Sacramento Republic FC, in SAC on April 7th. Will it be a short drive for Contra Costa or a short flight for the Timbers? We'll wait to see what the reading is for injury time in this first half as another foul called in the midfield. Head coach for Contra Costa, Bijan Esmali, standout for Cal Berkeley. Was an All-American at West Valley College in San Jose as well. And he told me that he wants all the pressure to be on the big dogs. And you can feel it in this first half, can't you? All of the pressure on Portland here at home. And another turnover force. That's been the story of this half. Able to run it down there is Gonzalez. Fernando Lara. In the corner here in the 45th. Still waiting to see how much time will be added here in this first half. As a corner kick gets set to curl in. Just in the waning moments of sunlight. The door stays open here in this first half for Contra Costa as a standing tackle. Ooh, it went uncalled. And the 2-minute sign pops up.
Center referee has indicated 1 minute of extra time.
Let's see if Dion Cox lets him go a little bit more than 1 minute, but at least long enough for this Contra Costa attack. One day after NPSL team Cleveland upset USL League Two Chicago FC United. We saw another NPSL team in Southern States advance yesterday, and then the big upset with defeaters Kicks in Texas beating Denton as the free kick tails wide, and we are in the waning moments of this first half. That defeaters team out of Dallas in the DKSC. An incredible late come from behind win over the Denton Diablos, the NPSL reigning national champions, who took down the same Des Moines team that beat this Portland Timbers squad in the semifinals. And there the whistle blows, and our first half comes to a close. strong start for Contra Costa. The NPSL team came out hungry. Portland was able to withstand it, had a few chances of their own, and now the coaches, for the first time really with these squads, have a chance to adjust and work on a few first half techniques here moving into the second half. We'll take a break for a little bit, come back just before the end of halftime, so a perfect chance for you to grab some food, head to the bathroom, take a break, because in a little bit we're going to have 45 minutes to decide a round one winner. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be right back here on YouTube. Back at the half here in the Portland Timbers U23 against Contra Costa FC first round matchup in the 107th Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. I'm Daniel Gilman, so happy to be joined by all of you fans. Grab that chat, get in the chat here on YouTube. Tell us what you thought the best first half highlight was as we take a look at our first half stats. Did you think possession would go this way? I saw a lot of you fans voting that Portland would dominate this. But that first half, 11-3 in shots, a true FIFA stat line here in the first half, as Contra Costa had a couple of those key shots on goal. Didn't quite go their way, as key saves made by Quinn McCallion were the front runner of our stories today. But a little bit limp came Eddie Sanchez on the first attacking opportunity. Then the McCallion show starts as he makes a sliding stop here. 2 more saves would be made by the 5th-year grad transfer for Corbin University. This, the best chance for the Timbers, as Alexis Luna, a local Capital FC football clubber, couldn't quite connect. And then Quinn McCallion once again. Contra Costa had 11 shots in the first half, chance after chance. This time it's Kaya Yilmaz who couldn't contribute. Too many shots, I think, that just didn't even give a chance to create a rebound, as this one was probably the least opportunistic. Late in the game, we saw one more chance from Costa as the curling left-footed attempt by the former U.S. national team product in Nate Sherwood couldn't go. Then we saw Footy Danzo lose his footy on that crossing corner kick attempt, and this was the best opportunity. The pass in, Carrasco on the feed from Del Mundo. He just couldn't reach the foot out long enough. And then in the waning moments of the first half, a free kick opportunity from Del Mundo. No dice as we sit here knotted at 0 through 45 minutes with just 45 to go. And the teams are set for the second half of action. The fans are bundled up. You could see them lining. It is standing room only here at John Chambers Field. A capacity crowd of about 500 fans, all warm and waiting to, I think, get a little bit warmer if their home side can contribute as they switch sides on a 49-degree Wednesday night. It's dropped about 10 degrees since opening kickoff. And does that backdrop not make you smile? Just an absolutely stunning night on an afternoon filled with on and off showers. We had a little bit of rain about an hour and a half before kickoff, but it's been full sail, gorgeous weather for some football from Salem, Oregon, as the two teams facing each other for the first time in their club's history, with Sacramento Republic FC, a USL championship squad, waiting to take on the winner on April 7th. For those of you wondering, hey, does it ever happen when a non-MLS team wins this U.S. Open Cup? Because when you go back through the years, last year was Atlanta, Houston in 2018, Kansas City 2017, Dallas 2016. Well, you got to go back all the way to 1999, the last time a non-MLS team won it all. The Rochester Raging Rhinos out of the A-League. It could happen. The Cinderella story is possible, and there's no reason not to believe, as Contra Costa moving right to left on your screen, trying to attack the same way that they were able to dominate the first half as Escobar on a volley, but a little bit too much loft in it. Oh, my goodness, the power line gets in the way of the clear from Danzo. Look at the gray jerseys moving forward. The one thing that'll lead to counter opportunities for Matt Brawhead's crew. Portland 9-1-1 last season in the USL League 2 format. They scored 17 goals in the 11 games, allowed 11 against. PDX came in second place in the Northwest Division, with OVF Alliance and Lane United coming in third and fourth. They'll start their championship repeat attempt in just a few months when USL L2 begins. As the referees definitely made the first half a little bit slower, as Dion Cox, our head referee, pulled out the card 3 times. twice for Contra Costa. JJ, the holding mid, got a call early, and the attacker Alonso Del Mundo as well, before Eddie Sanchez got called for a yellow card in the 29th. Our 3 bookings thus far, as no whistle blows for this one. This looked to be a pretty clear offside, but the line ref miscommunicates. And hopefully they can work out their kinks. We're just 1.5 minutes into this second half. It's a 3-man back line for Portland with Noah Dreves, Carlos Llamosa Jr., and Footy Danzo. And Danzo risked it a little bit trying to feed it back to McCallion there. 4-man back line for Contra Costa with Fernando Lara on the left side, Andrew Alvarado and George Binda in the middle. Binda's made a few key standing tackles, and Kaya Yilmaz on the right side as Yilmaz took that shot we saw in the first half highlights. Oh my goodness, how is that not a foul as Eddie Sanchez gets tackled? Possession changes hands back to the Contra Costa side. Moving forward now. And head coach Matt Brawhead trying to avoid Eddie Sanchez picking up another yellow, who is verbally assaulting our head referee a little bit. There you got one more look at that attempt. Is inside the box. A feed to the middle for Addison Escobar. Leaks out, and the change of sides doesn't affect Quinn McCallion's sight. Mentioned possession in the first half, 65% for Contra Costa. It's felt like 95% here in the second half. As the whistle there blows against Nate Sherwood for Portland. So they've been called for now 4 fouls in just 4 minutes of this second half. We'll see if Portland can get something going here. You get 5 subs, so a chance for the coaches to get a little liberal with their reserves if they choose to. As JJ pokes it and creates a throw-in in the attacking third for the home support. The Timbers U23 team. Winners of the Northwest Division title in 2017 and 2021. And a long throw-in coming from Dreves. We'll see another one. It was the largest margin of a victory between a USL League Two and an MPSL team back in 2018 when this Timbers squad beat Kipsack SC 5-0. Back when it was the PDL, Premier Development League, not the USL League Two. In the second round, Reno took down Portland 7-3 in Nevada. As Reeves gets set to throw. Noah Dreves looking for Danzo, and Footy got a head on it, just misses to the right. That may be the best attacking opportunity for Portland as we move forward, just trying to get it to the 6'3 defender with 5'10 and 5'11 draping the back line for Contra Costa, a team made up of the average age of 20. Out of the 18 men, 15 of them are 20 years old or less, born after 2001. Doesn't that feel weird to hear? As Dreves feeds it forward, deflected to the back post, it careens in! It wasn't pretty, but Thomas Peterson breaks the draw. Who says you need to score with your foot as Portland strikes in the 51st? Peterson, who is currently in medical school. Dissect the defense there. I'll say the feed was a lot more clinical. Former University of Portland standout attacker. As the pass from Dreves deflected right to him and might have hit his left kneecap and facaded in, but he doesn't care. Portland Timbers lead 1-0. First goal for Peterson. First game for Peterson as a member of this Timbers U23 team. And the assist to Noah Dreves, who had those two lengthy throw-ins just now that helped create the opportunity. Now the first chance for the counter following the deficit, as Contra Costa could have a little bit more aggressiveness, and we'll see what it leads to as the home fans have created a mini fire in the corner. And that's how you know that it's a soccer state, right? When you can pack the crowd for a U.S. Open Cup first round match, one of the biggest crowds in all of the first rounds around the nation here this two-day stretch. Is smoke, you know what? On a cold day, doesn't feel that bad. Now the prime opportunity to move the other way is JJ Faux Nufauis moves it in. We're just going to call him JJ, though. That's what he likes to be called. Out of San Jose, an all-conference CDM for Cal. Now in his postgraduate life as a member of Contra Costa. Played a little professional internationally. As you see the smoke billowing through from the celebration of those devout fans in the corner. A risky pass. But McCallion making it look easy as we're seeing a lot of aggressiveness in the front line. And I'll tell you what, that motor of the three of Carrasco, Escobar, and Del Mundo really creating havoc. Roberto Gonzalez got the flick in there on the clear attempt by Danzo. Subtle nudge works in the favor of Eddie Sanchez, and he gets fouled. Sanchez has been an absolute trooper in this one, and it's not your typical regular season exhibition style. No, this is win or go home here in the biggest of stages, and Sanchez, who works with Matt Broadhead and with Footy Danzo as a member of the youth program here in Portland, United PDX. He is just happy to be playing legitimate, meaningful soccer, as a lot of these players are. A little bit of Dodgeball, the movie, sprinkled into this format. And you know what? It makes it a little bit more fun. Of course, it's the earliest that this match and this cup has ever been held. Usually a mid-May first round really allows for the NCAA talent to shine as the spring semester comes to a close right around mid-May. But now beginning in mid-March really throws a wrinkle into things because you can't really add that college element until the round of 16 in late May when the universities let out. Now, a couple of exceptions, of course, as I mentioned, all the Cal Berkeley players, they are in a sanctioned spring break week. So they can play in this game for Contra Costa, but none moving forward as spring break finishes around the West Coast on Monday. Good header from Dreves as he feeds it forward to Sanchez. Surging in Binda, and a corner kick will come as Yamas couldn't quite corral it on that goal line. The fact that Contra Costa is even here, I know I've mentioned it a couple times, but because they're a national league, because they're in the NPSL, they're not allowed to enter open local qualifiers. But a waiver was issued, a waiver was granted, and because Contra Costa cannot compete nationally, they can't get any auto berths to this U.S. Open Cup, they were allowed to enter that open local amateur tournament back in December in Richmond, California, where they upset Modesto City. They beat the 1993 U.S. Open champs in El Farolito, and then the PK exhibition with 8 of the 10 PKs made by this Contra Costa team to beat San Francisco Metro, who had the former USL MVP Matt Fondy on their side. There's a kind of a lazy turnover in the midfield, but repossessed quickly Andrew Alvarado. Moving forward, you can see the defenseman pushing up for Costa. 57th minute, 1-0 Timbers. And a tackle by Danzo is going to draw the ire and create a very good look from just outside the box. There you see quickly getting up to his feet the captain in Escobar. And while he's the striker, we've seen Del Mundo and Gonzalez take a lot of these mid-range shots. So Gonzalez, number 7, had a goal in each of the 3 qualifiers. And this is a strong tackle by Danzo, but maybe just a fraction late. Yeah, good call there by our head referee, Dion Cox. And we may see Escobar yet, as Gonzalez and Escobar line up from about 21 yards. 4-man wall forms in front of him. Now it'll be just Gonzalez. Former captain for the youth squad, Atletico East Bay, as he curls it right in front. This creates a rebound and another save made by McCallion. Corner kick earned, but as is the respect earned by Quinn McCallion as he gets dapped up by his defenseman. The first save, trivial. The second save, instrumental as we get one more look. Just curling it over the head of that backliner in Le Torre. And now a corner kick comes. Oh, headed away from the front post, and that was a chance for Contra Costa. They got the last touch on it, and it leads to a goal kick. Ooh, a barrage of opportunities here in the mid-50th minute. Looked like Andrew Alvarado was the one who got that head on the front post. As we get another look, that is him right in front. Oh, he got the positioning too on McCallion. Fantastic camera work from our veteran crew here at John Chambers Field. Portland has to be thankful that they're still up by 1 here in the 59th. As Thomas Peterson careened in the crossing deflection in the 51st minute. He's also an assistant coach for the youth PDX program out here in Portland. He'll make his kids proud. As I mentioned, U23 only in name. A lot of these Portland Timbers actually out of the game altogether. Just coaches now called together and try to put together one last run. And this is one good run on the left side. Fernando Lara, and it's flicked away. Portland has had the bend, don't break mentality through 59. Despite facing 15 shots, 5 of them on goal. Here's the look from Lara's right as the defense all collided. And once again, it's the big man, Footy Danzo, in the way. Pressure forced by the forward in Eddie Sanchez, and he creates the goal kick. What a phenomenal defensive stand there by the striker. Of course, this tournament named after one of the biggest names in American soccer, Lamar Hunt, who founded the MLS, owned a handful of teams inside the beginning with Sporting Kansas City, Dallas, Columbus. Also played a part in founding the AFL, which turned into the NFL, and got that trophy named after him, the AFC Championship trophy in football, and member of the National Soccer Hall of Fame. And I'll tell you what, the physicality of this game would make Hunt proud, as these two teams have spared very little resistance in trying to go in strong. A cup that started in 1913, formerly called the National Challenge Cup, now the U.S. Open Cup, as Sanchez draws the ire and draws the foul from Andrew Alvarado. Contra Costa's side claiming the dive, while Alvarado gets a little bit of a lecture, but no card from Dion Cox. Here at the home of the Capital Football Club, John Chambers Field. just down the street of Corbin University, where 9 of these 18 footballers play their college ball, as Yamas gets brought down and a foul goes against Portland in the box, flinging it the other way. I'll tell you what, a first half that was objectively dominated by our head referee. He's let them breathe a little bit more in this second half. One more look at the collision. Maybe just the push of Binda, but there's a reason why the Timbers sideline is upset, because it seemed to be that Yamas did drag down the attacker up there. Portland Timbers U23 here playing at home. We heard their fans make a ruckus back in that 51st minute goal by Thomas Peterson, which stands alone as our only score of this contest. But it has not been for a lack of Contra Costa opportunities. 15 shots taken as the visitors try again to facilitate this box. Sanchez tussling with Lara, and the refs are letting them both battle it out. Quick throw in comes, and a chance for Gonzalez. Seeing a real come to chemistry moment here, because this is a squad of players in white that really just all met each other in the last week. They've had one training session leading up into this match. On the other side, you've got a group of kids for Contra Costa. So many of them were coached by Bijan Esmali when they were kids in the East Bay, growing up for Atletico East Bay. And they've got a lot more chemistry. And talking to Esmali, as Escobar can't catch up to that one, I asked him what his concept was, what his biggest advice given to his players is. And he said something that you really hear in a television show character more than anything. And he went on this long tangent about how he wants them to enjoy the ball. He wants them to caress the ball. He really wants them to make sure that they feel at home with the ball. And I heard a lot of Ted Lasso in the talking of Coach Esmali, who told me it's a show he wants them all to watch. You know, he feels like as much as you can make fun of a American who tries to teach soccer, it's a lot more than knowing the intricacies of the game as opposed to trying to teach youngsters how to mold as people. So enjoying the ball is exactly what Contra Costa has done so far today. They just haven't quite scored the ball yet. As that one tails out for a goal kick here in the 65th. And if you're not familiar with Contra Costa, they're a region just east of San Francisco, made up of a couple different cities, Berkeley in the area where they train, Concord as well, as Quinn McCallion gets a warning from our head referee. And to stay fit in the summer, Coach Esmali has them playing in the men's league of the NSL, just to make sure that everyone is in shape and working out. And as we mentioned, the average age is 20, so I'm sure it doesn't take too much for them to stay in shape. And that's when the question marks will start to arise here in the next 10-15 minutes. The veterans on the Timbers side and whether they will fade stamina-wise, led by the 38-year-old with the ball now in Footy Danzo, who fires in a perfect pass down the sideline to keep the ball with the home half. A lot of urging from the Contra Costa sideline to stay positive, and that's something that you're going to have to try to teach youngsters a little bit more when you have the veterans on the other side trying to frustrate you, playing mind games. Header. Saved. Nice grab by Llamas. That one from about 15 yards out on a good look from the left wing. And the strike attempt by Nate Sherwood here in the 67th. They have that feeling that if Portland can grab one more, they will have a vice grip on this match, but you can't count anyone out. What was it, Westchester United yesterday on the road coming back from down 2-0 to win in extra time. Nevertheless, Sanchez from the right. He takes it with the left, sneaks it under the arm of Llamas. And the captain for Portland, Eddie Sanchez up front, makes it 2-0. Sanchez with the off foot, and nobody happier than the well-earned defensive line. And look at the smiles of these two veterans, Danzo and Sanchez. And the former standout at the University of Portland switches legs. Good feed forward on the assist from Luna. And Eddie Sanchez nearly puts this game away with the left. Clinical execution there.
With that score, the score is now 2-0 Timbers.
And some might say that that may be the redemption that Alexis Luna was looking for on his whiff early in this game on the 68th minute goal. And now we're going to see true desperation mode for the visitors. Holding it in the midfield now, Adrian Guzman, someone we haven't said the name of too often. That's because the defense has neutralized him for the most part. I'm not sure if that ball's ever coming back. Into the woods it goes. Luckily, they have more than one. And the fans who lined up for over an hour, more than happy to have waited their turn through more than 50 minutes and have now seen 2 goals in a 15-minute span. The question is, can Contra Costa get one quickly back? As the green smoke, green of victory maybe, hushes over a nervy crowd that knows how delicate a 2-goal lead is in football. And there's the diehards out there who have not stopped making noise. 23 and me chanted through the fields. So Contra Costa, who started this match in a 4-3-3, they look to move with just 3 defenders, pushing up Fernando Lara, the left back. And turnovers are going to be costly, especially with an aggressive attack, as Addison Escobar has been quieted for the majority of this match. He had chances early, but never really a true one. The 11 shots in the first half for Contra Costa, compared to the 3 for Portland, has been absolutely flipped on its head here in the second. And if we don't see a strong finish for the visitors, it'll be a long trek back to San Francisco. We're going to have our first subs of the contest as well, and a pair for Portland. We're going to see Timur Zavidze. Actually going to be 3 substitutions here for Portland. Anthony Godinez, Timur Zavidze, and Andres Labat will come in and give Eddie Sanchez a well-earned sign off along with Reggie Reyes and Thomas Peterson. So the two forwards get replaced.
And number 4.
And Godinez headed to Dixie State in the fall. He's a senior in high school. How about that? A great opportunity for the 17-year-old forward out there. Number 4, Zavidze is a graduate from Corbin University. Another one of those veterans adding some minutes off the bench. And Labat, a newcomer to Oregon. Not a newcomer to the Pacific Northwest, though, as Andres Labat played the last few years at Gonzaga. Just transferred to Corbin University. And those are the 3 subs for Portland. Still nothing reserve-wise for Contra Costa, a team that only had 2 subs in a couple of their qualifying matches. So they are used to having to play more than 90 minutes. A good reverse by Yamosa Jr., who we haven't said the name of too often. And that's because he has played absolute shutdown defense on Nate Carrasco along the left side. About to enter the 74th minute, 2-0 Portland on a pair of goals from the attackers. Thomas Peterson in the 51st, Eddie Sanchez in the 68th. As Contra Costa, the underdogs from the NPSL in their first ever postseason cup format, hoping to at least avoid being blanked here tonight. Ooh, good chance there by Zavidze coming off the bench. And to wear number 10 is certainly no small task. Comes a lot of pride and pressure with numbers 9 and 10, but I'd say Eddie Sanchez lived up to the hype. The former freshman of the year in the West Coast Conference, invited to the MLS Combine most recently. That's a name to keep an eye on. Eddie Sanchez moving forward as this Portland Timbers U23 team is going to have a complete overhaul by the time their next match comes on April 7th, if they hold on here today, as Sacramento Republic FC awaits the winner. JJ moves it forward. Costa needs a score here. Try to pull a little bit more competition in. And that cross never had a chance, did it? The biggest field in the history of the 107 years here in the U.S. Open Cup. And what that means is more teams. And what more teams means is more matches. And we hope that all of you fans have enjoyed these 2 days of nonstop football action leading into what is going to be a great weekend of American soccer with USA-Mexico tomorrow night. And the big one on Sunday for the United States as they take on Panama at 4 o'clock Eastern. Just one of 2 games left here on this Wednesday night as Las Vegas Legends FC lead Park City Red Wolves 2-0. In fact, the same Park City spot that was a USL team, Park City FC, though, not SC, the team that Portland Timbers U23 beat back in July in the Western Conference Championship. As the Timbers regain possession here right around midfield, let's go over a couple of the scores from today as San Fernando Valley beat Escondido 6-2. Lansdowne Boys FC beat Ocean City Nor'easters in penalty kicks 1-1. North Carolina Fusion took down SC United 3-1. Miami United from South Florida, they took down City Soccer FC 3-1. Here a chance in the box for the newly entered Andres Labat, and good defensive stop in the back row by Alvarado, pops it to his goalkeeper. Des Moines Menace, that same team that went to the USL League Two Championship back in July by beating the Portland Timbers here, They beat Minneapolis City 4-2 today as Tulsa took down Azteca 3-0. You can check all the scores on ESPN, the app, as well as watch a lot of the remaining matches in this U.S. Open Cup. So much of it streamed and archived here on YouTube or over on ESPN+. Oh, another dispossession in the corner, and that one comes at a vital time as Costa was creating attackers in the box. As Portland gets set for their second of 3 substitute windows here, and they'll get the substitute in. It's Tyson Wynn, another senior in high school, a local product,
Tyson Wynn,
who will relieve Jose Peralta in the midfield. And a phenomenal showing from so much of this local talent for Portland here at home before the winner will have to head down to Sacramento in North California on April 7th. So mark your calendars. And we may have another substitution as well, as our head referee Dion Cox is calling for one, as an injury to Contra Costa. Wait to see who is coming out and who is coming in here in the 78th. So the substitute Christian Garcia will come in for Contra Costa. And as we look at an injury here, it's Nate Carrasco, the left winger, who will come out. But how about the injury suffered by the attacker for Portland, Eddie Sanchez, in the first few minutes? And we saw that in our first half highlights. He had a chance in the second minute, came up limp, looked like he would be out for the game, but grit is what kept that former University of Portland All-Conference forward in, and all he did was score what might be the ceiling goal in the 68th, as Sanchez would wind up playing 71 minutes of brilliant ball. And here the whistle will go against Portland in the attacking third. Well, the question of fitness has certainly been answered. Portland looks as fit as they can be, despite the age disparities. This veteran Timbers team continues to bounce around the ball with youth. And they now have 2 seniors in high school on the field, with win number 8, along with number 4, Anthony Godinez. Just about 10 minutes to go here in this first round bout. And it's the USL League 2 side leading 2-0, looking for their 4th ever trip to the second round of this U.S. Open Cup. 2013 and 2014, the Portland Timbers U23 team advanced. They beat Sacramento back in 2013. They got a bye to the second round in 2014. And then 2018, they beat Kitsap SC 5-0 with a pair of own goals, in fact, allowed in the first time in Cup history that an NPSL team had allowed a pair of own goals. But it is kind of funny to kind of go over the history of these, because similar to the college ranks, there's no reason to compare the 1999 North Carolina Tar Heels to this year, right? Because there is not one thing in common except maybe head coaches. But Matt Broadhead in his second year had nothing to do with those previous Timbers teams. Something he did do was help coach some of the recent success that the Timbers have had. 2 taken in last year's MLS Super Draft. Actually, this season, back in January, with Issa Easley and Philip Quinton going in the first round. A couple local stars that Portland residents are very happy to continuing to follow, as Easley's on Kansas City, Quinton on Columbus. Blake Bodley, an alum as well, over on Portland. Benji Michelle on Orlando City. A lot of fun to follow the careers that the youngsters will take. And similarly with these Contra Costa success, you have to imagine that some of the youngsters have a chance to really make some noise in the next 5 to 7 years, as Quinn McCallion will certainly have a pro career waiting for him once he finishes off his last year at Corbin University this season. He's had himself quite the clean sheet performance. And a foul on Adrian Guzman frustrates the Timbers sideline, wanting a little bit more of an advantage call instead of a quick whistle, as we'll have a couple more subs come in from Contra Costa. 5 subs allowed throughout this U.S. Open Cup in 3 windows, and then another one in extra time. But a lot needs to happen here in the next 8 minutes to get to that 30-minute period, as a clean takeaway in the top of the box could create numbers for the visiting half. Good stall by Wynn in the midfield avoids that, and once again, Portland takes possession over. And you want to see how quickly things swing from an 11-3 edge in the first half in shots. Contra Costa with just 4 shots in this second half. 2 of them on goal, while Portland has had 3 shots on goal in this second half.
And number 23, Braulio Maravilla.
Into the 84th. The Portland fans, not quite as loud as you would want them to be, but it is quite chilly here. They're as ready as ever to see their side advance. In their first action in Salem since July 11th, their regular season finale when they beat PDX 2-1 to clinch the division championship. Now a poor clearance will lead to a throw-in in the attacking third. And who else to throw it in but Noah Dreves, who started all of the fun with the cross that found the left leg of Thomas Peterson in the 51st to break this scoreless draw. As a placement throw-in by Dreves tries to set up the attack for the Timbers. Doesn't quite feel like the urgency is there for Contra Costa. You're at the point now where if you lose 2-0 or you lose 4-0, doesn't matter. You got to get more men forward. But too many of these midfield turnovers and now midfield fouls costing the CCST. One last sub for Portland coming in as Nate Martinez gets set to join this match and gets set to head out to Dixie State in the fall, where Matt Brawhead's brother Johnny is the head coach down in Utah. Member of the Western Athletic Conference out there. As Martinez comes in, Nate Sherwood comes out. Now 3 high school seniors on the pitch for Portland. Contra Costa has about 7, maybe 8 minutes left in this contest, and they've got to put some pressure on the defensive line. All game long, just the 3 defenders for Portland have kept this sheet clean with the help of phenomenal goalkeeping by Quinn McCallion. Seeing a lot of frustration brewing now from the youthful bunch from San Francisco as another foul is called. We had a little bit of a hit to the head there. And it was a first half truly dominated by the visitors. And it was a shock to a lot of the fans here. It was a shock to this broadcaster, thinking that this one would be quite lopsided, honestly, with the veteran side of Portland course, Footy Danzo back there at 6'3", a 38-year-old legend in the area. Former Portland Timbers standout. And instead, it was 65% possession in the first half, 11-3 in shots. But the goalkeeping of McCallion, who spent the last 2 off seasons working with the USL squad Indy 11 out in Indianapolis, where he went to college. Now a grad senior at Corbin University here in Salem. And I'm curious to see how Corbin University will do this next season. And how many of these Timbers players will even play on April 7th. That really throws a wrench into everything with the early start to this 107th rendition of the U.S. Open Cup, usually starting in May. Got going in mid-March so they can spread out the legs now. We'll have round 2 in early April, round 3 in late April with the draw on April 8th. Round of 32 on May 10th and 11th when the MLS teams are all in full swing. That draw is on April 22nd. Round of 16 in late May with a draw on May 12th for the quarters as well, which is in late June. Semifinals in late July, so a month between the quarterfinals and the semifinals. A lot more of that international cup style. As a turnover in the midfield, watches Binda get back on defense, and no whistle blows here in the box. So George Binda gets the tackle, and still a little glimmer of hope has to shine for these visiting Contra Costa footballers, as a through ball intended and had no chance there for Del Mundo in the far corner. Off the bench, Octavio Nunez is in, number 11 in the gray. He tried to give that one a run as well. Now this is the aggressiveness you expect. Off the bench, Christian Garcia adds fresh legs, and he'll get whistled for a little bit too much of a nuisance there in the midfield. As we enter the 89th minute, there weren't too many stoppages here in this second half, so I can't imagine that the injury time will be more than a minute or two. Left in the hopes of this Cinderella squad. I mean, it's a round of Cinderellas, isn't it? But this is the longest of the long odds here. But you saw defeaters out of Texas pull off the upset yesterday. Although today was not the day for this San Francisco squad, who just ran into a group of veterans and a goalkeeper that was not going to let anything by him. As Quinn McCallion, our MVP today, he finishes with 6 saves. As we round out the 90th minute, we'll get our final allotment of time. It's going to be 5 minutes. So 5 minutes of injury time here at the end of the contest, and crazier things have happened in 5 minutes, haven't they? There's a foul right outside the box on Danzo, and he is furious. He's got to be careful because the cards roll over here in this tournament. And I don't know if Footy Danzo has intentions of playing in the second round. But if he does and they win and he picks up yellows in both, he won't be playing in the third round. We already know that the star striker for the Timbers in Eddie Sanchez picked up a yellow card, so he'll have to be careful in round 2 as well. Nevertheless, Danzo avoids the booking. And Contra Costa has a chance here to at least add a highlight to this memorable trip. Let's see if Roberto Gonzalez gives this one a look. Number 7 standing above it to the left with the southpaw Del Mundo to the right. Just outside the box, the second free kick of this length, and it's good! Gonzalez contributes and cuts the lead in half with a curling stunner. No time to celebrate as Contra Costa, with just about 4 minutes to go, hoping for a miracle here on this Wednesday night. Oh, what an excellent shot. Never gave McCallion a chance, and that will erase the chance of a clean sheet for the goalkeeper. And this adds a little bit of intrigue here to the end, because there's nothing harder than killing 4 minutes of time on a pitch. Foul goes against Nate Martinez. And this is where the March Madness adds in. Late goal last night for Westchester United to force extra time. Might we have a little bit of magic here left with just 3 minutes to go? Turnover in the midfield. Stays with the Timbers, though. Good ball handling there in the middle by Luna. Well, after a scoreless first half, we've seen our fair share of 3 goals here in the second half. Give and go. A chance for Gonzalez. Oh, a selfless decision there may cost him as he passed up a shot from just outside the box after he made one a few moments ago. Binda gets it back to Gonzalez. Faces a triple team, and in jail there was Roberto Gonzalez, who now has 4 goals in 4 games leading up in this cup with the qualifiers, including this first rounder, as McCallion will sit on it. About 2 minutes left to play. And then we're at the discretion of Dion Cox. Oh, a very poor kick by the goalkeeper McCallion, though, leads to a inexcusable turnover that will more than likely burn a minute off the clock. Great takeaway force there by Andres Labat, and that may be the one that all but seals it here. One more look, though, at the curling free kick. That was an absolute bullet. Oh, my goodness. We've been waiting for that all game long from this Contra Costa side. They just haven't quite taken the smart shots. They've taken a lot of shots. Now we're going to play keep away in the corner. Oh, poor decision to clean it out of bounds by Christian Garcia. Will just waste more time. Portland counting down the seconds here into the 95th minute, our final minute of injury time, and Contra Costa trying to put together a race to the finish line. Look at Gonzalez all the way in the back line, and they are moving without a lot of pace. Lara flipping the field. Any second now. We'll see when the whistle blows. This is probably going to be the one formulated attack that the referee will give him. And you can't make any mistakes, and there's the mistake. A turnover on the near side. And that might end it, as it just careens off the foot. And the whistle blows. The Portland Timbers U23 team moving on to the second round for the 4th time in the club's history. Exasperation on the side of the newcomers, and a little bit of relief after the late surge by Contra Costa. A scoreless game at half, and a pair of goals in the second half as Thomas Peterson and Eddie Sanchez's insurance in the 68th proved to be the difference. Well, we thank you so much for joining us here on this Wednesday evening. The first goal by Peterson, important. The second goal by Sanchez, imperative to victory for the Timbers, as head coach Matt Broadhead is moving on in his first U.S. Open Cup. Here's the second goal by Sanchez, as the captain in the front of this offense went off foot to clean up the mess that the defense left. Contra Costa outshoots and outpossesses, outshines with this free kick but could not outlast as Portland takes it 2-1. We thank you so much for joining us, for my entire crew here at John Chambers Field in Salem, Oregon. I'm Daniel Gilman, wishing you a fantastic night. Can't wait for the second round, April 5th to 7th. Signing off, it's the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup right here on YouTube.